Hello, this is Talon with Old Guy Stuff at Busy Corner Lane, and today we're going to be doing a review on a turbo controller that we use with Nintendo Switch. First of all, we have two Nintendo Switches, and we like this controller so much that we bought a second one. Okay, very comfortable in the hand. I mean, very ergonomic, or however they say that, but it's very comfortable in the hand. And the turbo features work really nicely. So we got a replacement, and then we had to send a replacement back. And the reason why we had to send a replacement back is because the left analog stick would become stuck on the right side and if you're pulling back towards you. Now, not an issue for some video games, but if I'm playing a game where this stick controls my movement around in menus or my body movement in the game, then that can be a serious issue. It can be very frustrating if you're having to deal with that, like in a fight sequence or something like that. And timing is very important, that kind of thing. So that was a really bad issue. Okay, so we sent the other one back, and then, of course, we wanted to get a replacement for that one. And, of course, the first thing we look at is this, because, the other one might have just been a fluke. And this one was working really good. So let's try to get the same thing. So this is what we found. The company name on this is Kinvoca. And it says made in China. Now, we do not have an issue with made in China. Okay? Never had a Kinvoca product before. That's over here on the left side. I don't care if it's made in China or where, if it's a good controller. Okay? So, we went on Amazon, which is where we got this controller. Kinvoca no longer has a controller on Amazon. Every week, we've noticed, the name changes. So this week, it's Power Lead and Nexilux. Last week, it was something different. Now, I don't know why they did that, because these controllers are exactly the same, other than color. The second one we had of these that we sent back was dark blue on the right side and yellow on the left side. Regardless of color, they're identical. They're exactly the same. Okay? But we did without having a replacement for that second controller for a while. Okay? Now then, this controller was working great and then started having issues. I'll tell you what the issues were. Okay? I'm playing it. In the middle of the quest, that just comes off and hits the ground. While I'm grabbing for it, that side comes off and hits the ground too. I got a messed up hand, so my gripping it, trying to hold on to it, wasn't happening at that particular moment. Now what's supposed to happen to get the sides to come off, to say put them on the switch for charging or whatever, supposed to push this release button. You push that release button, then, or the one on the other side, then whichever side you push that button on, I'm supposed to push it, and then it comes off. Well, it was coming off on its own. So that was a major deal. So I can still use the controller, but I kind of have to do something weird. And it's not always easy to do. So what I got to do is I've got to jam this twister tie into here and stuff it in here at the same time. I'm going to pause when I do it because it could actually take a few minutes. Okay, I got that side in. It's going to hold pretty good. Okay, so I got the second side on. It'll hold. Okay. In case you're wondering, I grew up around rednecks, and we would call this redneck engineering at its finest. Oh yeah. Kind of goes along with this made in China deal. Redneck engineering and made in China. Well, I don't think you'd actually hear that in the same sentence. All right, so what do you do with this controller now? Well, let's start out with the fact that while you're in turbo or not, you can still take pictures by pushing this button. And I'll demonstrate that in a little bit on the TV in a game. Okay, this is the minus button or back button. This is the plus button or going to the menu button. This is the house button or home, so I can go through the actual switch menus. Okay, these buttons down here, the two inside ones are memory. So if I want to kind of have it memorize button sequence, I can do that. But I never do that, so I'm not going to try to explain it. But the ones here on the outside part, that's turbo. Now, what can you turbo on this? Okay, well, none of this can be turboed here, but these two bumpers can be turboed. These two bumpers can be turboed, and the ABXY can be turboed. Okay, and that's all you can do with the turbo on it, but that's very good in the game. So we're going to take a look at this in a game and show you some of the things that go on. Okay, we are in the game Zelda Breath of the Wild. Sitting outside Link's house in Hateno Village, and there's our horse. Okay, so first of all, what is letting me move the camera angle around and up and down and side to side and rotate is the right analog stick. And if I push in the right analog stick, I can get this where I can put a pin that'll show me something on a map. In this case, this red pin right there. Okay, if I use the left analog stick, he crouches or he stands back up. All right. If I use the left top bumper, oh geez, I just blew up my tree. That's not cool. Okay, I can use my runes. If I use the right bumper, I can do something else with my rune and let bumper do it again. Okay. My D-pad or my D buttons, right? If I can go up, that gives me my different runes in this particular game. So menu I can scroll through. If I go to the left side, that's my shields. I can scroll through those and pick a different shield. Right side, I can do the same thing with my melee weapons. You can't do this with the bows. However, if I do my minus button, it's the map. If I do my plus button, I can go into this menu using my left or right bumpers. Okay, and I can go through here. So if I need to change my bow, I can do it like this. Okay. If I want to pull my bow to shoot, my ZR button or RZ, and I can aim it by moving the controller around. So that's how I'm aiming right now. I can also aim by moving my my right analog stick. Okay. Now if I want to go into turbo, I push a button and I push. Okay, so I'm going to use the button Y and push that. And when I go into turbo, you'll see I got this flashing light down here. Okay, so that lets me know that when I push that button, I'm in turbo. I push a different button, light doesn't flash. Okay, unless I go into turbo on that. Now, if I want turbo to work while I'm not pushing the button, I can push the button that I've got turbo going on. And then I can push this button again and let the other one go. And now he's going to keep swinging his sword basically forever. So I'm going to go out of turbo by pushing that again. So I have three modes on turbo. I have turbo off. I have turbo on only when I push that particular button. And I have turbo on when I release the button. So depending on what you're doing in the game as to what you might need to do. If for some reason I want to change controller or something like that. Or I take a picture in the menu or a video. I'm going to take a picture of this. Oh, let's take a picture of the horse. I don't know. He's kind of losing interest. I'm going to take a picture of my horse here. Wrong button. Here we go. Take a picture of my horse. Now, if I want to take a look and see that picture, I can push the home button and then scroll over to the one that says album. I can pick that particular picture, and now I can see the picture of my horse or whatever I took the picture of at the time. So overall, this is an excellent controller. I've got no complaint with the controller, other than the fact that it came apart in my hand and shattered on the floor. If it wasn't for that, this controller would never have had any issues, and we'd be supremely happy with it. Okay. In order to charge the controller, I'll show you what we have to do. Okay, so to charge this, we can no longer just set this into the side of the switch to charge it up. That's no longer going to work. Okay, so to charge it, they did come with these USB-Cs. I'd have to plug a cable into one side and plug another cable into here, and we would get the flashing lights to let us know that it's charging. Okay, so that's how we would have to do that. But as I said, this was a great controller. Okay, I wouldn't be able to give it a review like, you know, how many stars, whatever, high enough. I mean, the controller was really great until it came apart in my hand, and basically the sides just came disengaged without hitting that button on the back, and they fell down and hit the ground. And other than that, you know, when it hit the ground, it all came apart. Okay, now it didn't look like this part came apart, but this part right in there that mounts into the side of the switch and into the side of this grip, that out of it. Okay, if it wasn't for that, then this is like the most perfect controller you could imagine, in my opinion. Okay, now you may or may not like the idea that it says made in China, or that every week they're going by a different company name. This week is PowerLead and Nexilux. You may be hung up with that, but that's to each his own on there. But in my opinion, this was a really great controller. It's just not doable for me now. This is Talon with Old Guy Stuff at Busy Corner Lane. Have a safe, happy, peaceful, wonderful day, and goodbye.